63 at Vonnie.
Right.
That's with a Paxton supercharger. And they only built 9 originally. It's the only club I've ever belonged to that had a attorney on retainer.
Oh, really?
Because it's all he did was take care of tickets for you. Because the lead guy always got a ticket.
Yeah. The C4 is really coming on strong.
Yeah. Coming on much better.
And with this twin turbo Callaway, this has got the, I mean, this is a sleeper. Made out of diamond. That's made out of diamond. That's not crystal, that's diamond.
And I'm taking offers right now. Took it out of 400, really cranked it up, and I'm going, damn, I want this car.
Oh,
He starts every party. It's the longest running Jaguar that they built for 25 years, you know, but they do catch on fire sometimes.
You care if I drive this sometime?
Let me think about that, Stephen. No. One of my uncles said, John, I've seen smaller engines than bulldozers.
Hey, I'm a little bit out of my pay grade today. I am over here at Dr. Hollier's, and we're going to look at some very serious cars that's out of our pay grade. But he's nice enough to let us come on over. And it's going to be cool because we got, if you look over there, we got James Brown in the corner.
Hey, he's a special guy.
Oh, hey.
He starts every party. I bought that on PBS TV, believe it or not, quite a few years ago.
Anyway, I didn't know you had this little lady.
Yeah,
yes.
I bought this car probably about 20 years ago. It's a 91 model.
Yeah.
It's called the Collector Classic. They made about 200 of them. Basically, the color of the car matched the pinstriping on the seats.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And of course the beauty of the car is the engine. It's my only V12 car, and probably the only V12 car I'll ever own.
Wow.
Like one of my uncles said, John, I've seen smaller engines than bulldozers.
Well, I'd hate to have to run just the vacuum hoses alone.
You actually have to remove the air conditioning compressor to change the front 2 spark plugs. So it's an all-day job to tune it up.
What year is this car?
This is a 1991. Apparently they were all built in 1990.
Right.
This is the last year of the American double headlights.
Right.
And the separate rear bumper. They went to a colored matching front bumper and rear end in the next 5 years. So that's why I wanted this model. I wanted the chrome American looking car.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And it's really a pretty car. And it runs like it's got 85,000 miles on it, you know. It had like 50,000 when I bought it.
Right.
You know, so I drive them. I drive all my cars.
You can look at this matching pinstripe.
You can go ahead and open the door if you want there.
So now you're talking about the rear bumper. What's the deal with the difference in the rear bumper on this one?
This is the last year that it had the chrome, it's sort of a Foz bumper here. The next model year, the bumper was sort of plastic and matched the color of the car.
Right. Now, I'd say that's something that was added on for America. You know?
That was added on to the crash, you know, directive from the federal government, you know.
So how long have you had this car?
About 20 years.
Good Lord, with 85,000 miles on it?
Yeah. Well, it had 50,000 when I bought it, because but the spare tire's never been on the car, and it's got this is the battery cover, but that's the cover for the top, and it's down, of course. But yeah, the spare's never been on the car,
and your wife would rather drive a truck as drive this?
Yeah, drive this, yeah.
Well,
she's probably driven it twice in 20 years. You know?
Really?
And but I love it. I enjoy it. You don't really appreciate the V12 until you floor it, you know. and then it really cranks up. You know, I mean, you hear
But
that
the sound
humming.
of these cars, man, with that V12 is just second to none.
Yeah.
It's got a beautiful sound. That car, there's not a blemish on that car anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, like the gold motif is part of the collector classic deal, you know. And but it's a neat car. I get compliments. It grows on you. I get compliments on it all the time now. Where when they first came out, it was a replacement for the E-Type, and people goes, "This is a replacement for the E-Type. That was such a beautiful car, you know, and it's so much bigger and everything." And it got pretty bad press when it first came out, but it's grown on you through the years, you know, and you get used to looking at it.
I love them.
Yep.
Yep, they are low, ain't they?
Yeah. This was the tractor or garage here, the original home.
Right.
And then I added this part to it to put the other cars in.
Oh, wow. There's still room for more cars. You know that, right?
Yeah, there's still. Well, I got one more. It's down and coming, so I haven't moved it up here yet. I got a 64 Hawk. That's the hood to it there.
Right.
Studebaker Hawk.
Now, is it the Hawk? Is it the Golden Hawk? Or?
No, it's called a GT Hawk, Gran Turismo Hawk.
Right. The
Golden Hawk was the 57, 58 model.
Now, when I can remember these Lotus right here, this was the car. You know, I've always would love to own one. I mean, I'll never see it in my garage, I'm sure.
It's a beautiful car, and it's small like a sports car is supposed to be. I actually looked at a Ferrari Testarossa at the same time I looked at this car, and at that time, the price difference was only a couple grand, you know.
Right.
But the Testarossa was so much bigger, especially the rear end. It was so wide. It was like a truck. I go, oh, that's when you got closer, it's not really a beautiful car. This was much more beautiful to me.
I just think they're gorgeous. What model is this?
This is the last rendition of the Esprit. It's a 2002, 2003 model. It's the only one that has round tail lights,
right, and
center exhaust. All the other Esprits had rectangular tail lights, right, and the exhaust was on the corners. And they only built 85 of these. Really? It's really a rare car. And all of them were imported to the U.S. So I've been told by the dealership down in North Springs that if I ever want to sell it, have somebody list cars internationally. Right. Because you'll get a lot more money for it in Europe. Oh, yeah. They didn't have any of them.
Well, now this is V8. Is this a V8?
It's a V8, yes, sir.
Now, I remember them being 4 cylinders.
Yes, sir.
So when did they start the V8?
In 97.
97.
And it's the last real Lotus engine. It's an aluminum block, aluminum heads, 4 valves per cylinder, twin turbo. It's a race engine is what it is.
So now, okay, I might be asking something you don't know, but did they not go to Ford engines at one point?
Yes. A lot of the race cars particularly had Ford blocks, Ford engines in them. But this is a real Lotus engine. They cast them and everything. And the 4-cylinder was a real Lotus engine, too.
Yeah, I always remember before, when I seen the V8, it kind of threw me off because I was thinking most of them was 4-cylinder.
They were they introduced this car, I believe, in like 82 or something like that. I remember they come out. And they were 4-cylinder. They were just straight 4-cylinder at first. Then they turbocharged them. Right. And then, like I say, in 97, I believe they switched to the V8. And,
wow.
The impressive thing I always tell people in this car is to take a look at the speedometer. It goes to 220. You ever seen a speedometer go to 220?
You know, how close have you been to 220 in this thing?
No, the car magazine test on this car said that the way it comes from the factory with the rear end, it'll only do about 185, but with the correct rear end, it'll go over 200, you know. And
it's got an anti-theft device in it. I folks out there watching, that's called
it is, yeah. It's,
manual steering, or manual transmission, yeah.
It's a 5-speed.
Wow. How many miles on this car?
When I bought it, it had 9,000. I got about 27,000 on it now.
Wow. This has got to be so much fun to drive.
It's probably the most fun car I have to drive. Now, you wouldn't want to take a trip on it. I mean, you're bouncing, you feel every bump and everything. It's set up for the track. I mean, look at these hinges on the doors. Right. I mean, that's the way a race car is built, you know, with hinges like that.
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
you know. But,
25th anniversary edition.
yeah. Now this comes off here,
That does.
so it's, you can open it up on a nice day.
Man, that is beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you.
And I've had it on the Dragon's Tail a couple times.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And that guy that films them, he always films this car.
Right.
It's always on the internet after I run it down.
The thing about it, they crack down on them so hard over
Oh,
on the
they
Dragon
have,
Tail
yeah.
now. It's not even.
Oh yeah,
They've had so many crazy people come for a wrecking.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So now this V8, what displacement is it? Do you know?
It's a 3.5 liter,
Right.
pretty small V8.
Right.
Like I say, it's a double overhead cam though, 4 valves per cylinder, and it's twin turbo. So it's about 400 horsepower roughly.
And how much does the car weigh? You think?
Car weighs about 2,900 pounds.
Wow.
You know, so it's
Gosh, it's so pretty.
it's quick.
Yeah.
Boy, does it corner. You know, I mean,
You don't see a lot of Lotus. I mean, you really don't.
you really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised in Flint, Michigan, a General Motors town, and so you saw lots of Corvettes. You saw quite a few Jaguars, and every once in a while you see a Lotus. You never saw a Ferrari or
Right.
anything like that, Lamborghini. You never saw any of those kind of cars. But I always thought these were, back then it was that sort of strange-looking Lotus, the Europa. Remember the Europa?
Oh yeah. When I was Lotus, not the one that James Bond drove. Did he not
Yes,
have
it
a
is.
Lotus?
Yeah. No, he had an Aston Martin, what he was famous for.
Yeah.
You didn't see those in Flint, Michigan either. But
I know he did. So okay, now while we're sitting here, what is the deal with the STP
okay, that's
jumpsuit?
Andy Granatelli was hired by Studebaker as a vice president,
Right.
and he was president of Paxton at the time, and Studebaker bought Paxton. That's why the last 2 years of Studebaker, you could order your Studebaker with a Paxton supercharger.
Right.
And so that was from the Indianapolis 500. And that's Andy Granatelli and the whole crew. And Studebaker owned STP also, of course. So that's one of the uniforms from the Indianapolis 500. I bought it at an auction. You know, I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing about it. They thought, when Studebaker went out of business, they thought, oh, that's the end of Studebaker, but it was not.
Oh, no. Studebaker was like General Motors. They owned a tractor company and all kinds of stuff. They owned a refrigerator company and stoves. And I mean, they were a multi industry.
Right.
And they just quit making cars.
Right.
They just stopped.
And talking about Studebaker, you got one of the rare birds here, the Monte.
Well, this is the Avani 2, actually. So it's post Studebaker. Studebaker quit building them in December of '63. But Newman Altman, the largest Studebaker dealership in South Bend, bought 6 buildings and the right to the Avani from Studebaker and continued making them in the same factory there in South Bend, Indiana, up until 1985. And so it looks just like a Studebaker Avani, except it's got a Chevrolet engine and transmission.
Right. You see inside there.
But look at that dashboard. I mean, what a neat dashboard.
These cars were so far ahead of their time.
And it's got controls up in the ceiling too, which you never saw back in the 60s and 70s.
So what year is this car?
This is a 1970 model. They were building about 100 a year.
Right.
I mean, you ordered it and they built it. So you could get any color you wanted. You could get any kind of carpet you wanted, any kind of tires you wanted. I mean, it was just it's a custom built car pretty much.
Yeah, and another anti-theft device in this one, the 4-speed transmission. Now the knobs are cool. Check that out, Dylan.
It's a airplane type design. Raymond Loewy was the chief designer of this car, just like the '57 Golden Hawk and stuff.
Right.
So.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look how that closes.
When I restored this, I restored it as an R3 '63 Avani.
Right.
That's with a Paxton supercharger, and they only built 9 originally of these original Studebaker models in '63. They actually had a bored out engine to 304 cubic inches, and that special cover there on the 4-barrel covers the whole 4-barrel carburetor. And
so now the 4-barrel carburetor is inside.
Inside of that, yeah, yes sir.
Well, that's neat, ain't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And
but that's a 350 Chevrolet.
It's a 350 Chevy. They call it a Stingray engine. I've got the actual bill of sale on this car.
Well, now this car, the original ones was, when did they first start?
The first 63 and 64 were Studebakers.
Well, now they fiberglass cars or were they metal cars?
Fiberglass.
All of them are
All
fiberglass.
fiberglass.
So this is the car right here, 1970. In California.
Yeah.
For $9,460.75. I'll give you, will you take that for it?
No, I paid more than that for it.
Would you take $9,000
15 years
for it?
ago.
Okay, they charge you $100 for power steering, $425 for air conditioning, electric windows was $100. I don't know what, sunband, I guess that's your windshield, right? That'd be the tinted window.
Yeah.
Yep. $100 for the luxury carpet. AM FM blow plump, man. Blow plump.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, $250. That's serious cash for a radio back then. Electric rear antenna, $25. Control mirrors, $25. Mag 500 wheel, Magnum 500 wheels. They still own it today.
Yeah, everybody used them back then. The Mustangs had them. AMC had them.
Right.
They were popular wheels.
So the wheels cost is as much as the radio.
Yep, there you go.
Firestone Premium Rally radio tires, $50 for a whole set. You think?
Yeah, that's it. Whole set.
Tilt steering wheel, $100.
Rubber was cheaper back then.
Golly. Advante Motor Corporation. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give you money back.
And it was a woman that bought it, Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, see, it wasn't supercharged when it was new.
Right.
That was added when it was restored.
So now, how did you come up with this? I mean, this looks like this would be something impossible to find, supercharged.
This is Studebaker is fortunate as to when they had such a loyal following. There was a bunch of guys that went around to the dealerships and bought all their parts out. So it's amazing all the NOS parts you can find for Studebaker.
Right.
Whereas when Chrysler bought AMC, they went around and just hauled everything to the dump, and it's gone.
Right.
AMC guys can't find anything.
I know you're right.
It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But Studebaker, these guys were smart, man.
Yeah.
And you can find this kind of stuff. No, I had to have the bracket made, custom made, because you couldn't get a Studebaker, Avani, or Hawk with AC and a supercharger. It had to be one or the other.
Right.
This one's got both, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, now, did you do this work, or did you have somebody?
I had a real mechanic help me.
A real mechanic.
Yeah. I'm a Foss mechanic.
Yeah. I noticed you didn't call me when he was wanting to do it. Golly.
It's not what you know, but who you know sometimes.
These things, like I said, back when these come out, I mean, it was just completely different car. It was just, a car ahead of their time.
I mean, people either love them or just really don't like them.
Yeah, I just think
it's an unusual design, but to me, it's beautiful.
But they kept trying to do the Avante later on with different cars. Like they'd actually, I don't know, graph fenders on different cars and stuff.
They had see, this has still got the Studebaker frame and everything, whereas after 85, they went to I think they used Firebird, I think.
I think they used Firebird or Camaro or something.
Yeah, something like that for a while. And they had the big rubber bumpers, and they just weren't near as neat a car,
No. Now, do you drive this regularly? I mean, you drive it pretty regular?
I pretty much just drive this to shows and stuff. I don't drive it around very often.
Now, did it have power brakes?
Yeah, I got power brakes when I bought it. When I got it,
Right.
It came from the factory with power brakes.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you something. You know about these Avantes, and can I use the hood down and I'll shut it all away. What was right on the hood there? What was the raise in the hood for? Was that just something added to it?
That was just style.
Style.
Yeah, it's Raymond Loewy style. All the original ones had that, and the Avani 2s have it also.
But I mean, it even goes up into the windshield.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
When you talk about when you think about car builders, they always want to cut costs.
Yeah.
But this, just that one little spot right there, and tell them how much that cost them to do that.
Yeah. And see, the windshield is cut that way too.
That's what I'm saying. The windshield, you have to have all that extra.
And a funny thing is, they do reproduce the windshields,
right.
but they do not reproduce that back window.
So it's impossible.
So if that thing breaks, you're going to start scouring junkyards all over the country to try and find a back window for it.
That'd be impossible to find.
So when I had it repainted 3 years ago, and I said, I'd like you to take the windows out and stuff, but I'm afraid he said, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't. I'm with you. Be my luck, I'd be the first one to break it.
Yeah.
Yep. Just breathing on it wrong. I love them though. I really do. I just think, like I said, that's a piece of history right there that you don't.
Yeah, another neat thing. I don't know if this is. Well, no, I got. You won't believe we didn't take a look in the trunk here. Take a look back there in the trunk.
Oh wow.
It's got a whole tool kit that came with it.
Well, you don't see that no more.
No, you don't.
You don't see toolkits at all.
Yeah. Now those are all stainless steel Craftsman, but originally they actually were stamped Studebaker tools, so they were long gone though when I bought the car.
Yeah.
So I just replaced them with nice Craftsman.
I don't even think new cars today can come with a jack much, do they?
I hear that.
Yeah. Wow. That is beautiful. And this is not your father's Corvette right up here talking about the Chevrolet motor. This is a rare bird right here.
Yeah.
This is a rare bird.
This is a car I bought new at Tom Jumper Chevrolet in Sandy Springs. I had gone through a divorce at the time and was driving a Buick Riviera.
Right.
And
What year was this?
this is 88.
Buick Riviera.
Yep. It was that chopped off rear end.
Oh yeah.
And it was a nice interior, but it wasn't a very good looking car. But anyway, so I'm going to treat myself. So I went down and in September and ordered an '89 Corvette convertible. And I ordered that dark red with a tan interior and every option you could get. And they had some kind of strike at one of the supply companies.
Mm-hmm.
They had to have the parts to build the cars.
Right.
So they couldn't build cars for a while. And I kept going down there bitching, you know, to Tom Jumper, to Reggie Stagmeyer, was my salesman. I bought like 4 or 5 cars from him. I remember his name, but he said, finally, out of frustration one night, he said, here's keys to this red '88 model. I said, is it a convertible? He said, no, it's a coupe, but it's got both tops. It's got the red top and the see-through top, and it's loaded, and it's a Callaway. I said, what the hell's a Callaway?
Right.
He said, drive it and you'll figure it out. So I went out, it had about 800 miles on it, but it had never been sold. And it was actually in the World of Wheels that year in Atlanta.
Right.
This car was. And I went out and got it and cranked it up. Took it out on 400, really cranked it up, and I'm going, damn, I want this car.
Well, now here, for folks that's watching, is this hooked or not?
It's heavy.
This is the ticket right there.
It is.
That right there. Now these things were sleepers.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. You look at it, it's got a magnesium wheel, which is, most people don't recognize that as being different.
Right.
But twin turbo, intercoolers, and I mean, Callaway actually rebuilt the engine. It's got different pistons, it's got a different oil pump.
Right.
I mean, it's just it's actually got a different serial number than it had originally from the factory. But it was covered by the factory because it was a factory authorized conversion. So you had a full warranty with it when you bought it. And they all came loaded with the big brakes, with the Z51 suspension, with the sport seats. I mean, they were all just loaded. You know, they had everything. And but it's a $25,000 option. You know, it was expensive, really expensive. Although at the end of the year, I got a discount on it, about 15 grand discount.
Wow.
I bought it right, and I really thought one of these days this car would be like a Yenko. You know,
Oh, it is.
it'd be just like $200,000. You know, but it has never happened. They're worth about twice as much as a regular Corvette.
I think they're coming on, especially the body style is what does it. That's, you know, that's the thing about it people don't realize, and this is something that I'm going to say that somebody might complain, but luxury cars and Corvettes depreciate quicker than anything out there.
Yeah.
But then they gain back after so many years.
So many years.
And right now the C4 is really coming on strong. Yeah. And with this twin turbo Callaway, this has got to, I mean, this is a sleeper. This is just absolutely. And I actually don't know the horsepower on it, but it's like in the day it was absolutely ridiculous.
And I had the additional special, called a super the Super Cross member here.
Right.
It's actually part of the body. That was a bigger one that came from the factory. So it added about 30 more horsepower. This is around 410, 420 horsepower,
right.
which is almost 200 horsepower more than the
regular
Corvette.
Corvette.
I mean, it was so fast, it was incredible, you know. And
I'm like you though. I don't see. I mean, I'm like this. This got to come on strong, but this is.
yeah.
And you don't see. I wonder how many cars. Because I mean, if you get a discount on that, means they weren't selling. I wonder how many actually they did sell.
Apparently, Brady told me that they ordered 2 right away. Right. They thought they were going to be really special. They ordered a black one and a red one, and they had them both at the Atlanta wheel.
World of Wheels.
In Atlanta, and the black one sold pretty quick. The red one, it was so expensive they couldn't sell it.
Right.
And that was a big dealership. I don't know if you're in Sandy Springs. That was a huge dealership.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that's why I got a discount on it. And
well, it's also radar red, we call it.
Yeah, there you go.
Radar red.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You got to like red. You like this car, it's all red. You know?
I love it. Just I think I'd take the hood off and just ride around with the hood off. Look what I'm driving.
You would, Steve.
Because if you're going down the road, you don't realize what it is unless you actually know. Because I mean, you know, like right here in the window, it says Callaway, but there's not a lot of. I mean, even on the you know, mine's got the same thing on mine.
Same thing on yours. Yeah.
Twin port fuel injection.
That's right.
And but I don't think there's any more things on it that says Callaway. There's not anything else.
No. Well, the little black badges on the front and back.
Right.
I can't see them.
Well, yeah, you'd have to be on.
Right on top of
Yeah.
them.
Got the little emblem here on the tank where mine says Corvette, right? I think mine's just an emblem.
Yeah.
I don't even think mine says Corvette, but that says Callaway on that.
Yeah.
And you got the hard top and the
2 top.
Which yours is perfect, man. Most of them I see there.
Yeah.
On the top where they've been out in the sun. And then the magnesium wheels. I wonder how much they weigh because you know magnesium's a whole lot lighter than.
Oh, it is. I mean, you pick it up in one hand. It's just incredible. Obviously, I've changed the tires on it. It's got 44,000 miles on it.
You about to wear this thing out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some collector call me what my car was selling. And he said, well, how many miles you got on that Callaway? I said, 44,000. Oh, it's a high miles car. And I said, really?
Wow, 44,000. Now this extra gauge here, what is that that's on the dash?
That's the vacuum gauge for the turbos.
Right. And it's got the famous digital dash that goes out. I had to have mine rebuilt.
Yeah, mine's still working.
Right. There's a guy up in Ohio, I think it is. I sent it to him, and man, he went through it.
Do you have the sport seats in yours?
No. Yeah. Of course, mine's an '87. It's a whole lot. Well, it's the same car.
It's the same car.
Yeah. But mine ain't got 44,000 miles. I can tell you that right now. We were. Of course, it's got the Callaway emblem on the center of the premium unleaded fuel. Yeah, premium unleaded fuel. Now, does this tell how many they made? Does this got a number on it that says, okay, this is number 1?
Yeah, number 35 there on the little badge there on the console.
Right.
They built, I think we have 120 this year. And that was the most of any year they built. Over the 6 years they built them, they only built 500 and some.
So this is
and they're really rare cars, you know.
Number 35 of 400. What this is, 88.
Yeah, in reality, they only built about 110, 120 that year.
Right.
That was the biggest year because they only brought out the ZR1 in 1990.
Right.
That took a bunch of the sales away from this car.
Now this has got that. What's it called? The Doug something transmission. Is that?
Doug Nash.
How does that work with this one? A lot of folks complained about the Doug Nash.
I've never had any trouble with mine.
Right.
It's been good.
But it's like an overdrive or something.
Yeah,
it's got
overdrive in every gear, actually.
Right.
And I've never had any trouble with it. So the next year, the 89 model, they went to the real 5-speed, the ZR, something.
ZR1. Not.
ZF transmission.
Oh, okay. Transmission.
5-speed, yeah.
Right.
I've heard a lot of complaints about the Doug Nash. So far, of course, the car's only got 44,000 miles on it. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure nowadays, and that's like that one I've got, crossfire fuel injection. Everybody likes, don't do that.
I've got a set of ZR1 wheels down here.
Right.
If you're interested in that for your car, you know.
Oh, they're brand spanking new.
Well, they put on the car.
Oh, they have?
They're they're aftermarket, but
Right.
they look like 0-1 wheels.
But they were on this car.
They were on this car for a while.
So why do you have them on the car? Why'd you take?
I thought those wheels been restored.
Right.
I had them sandblasted and repainted.
Wow.
So while I was doing that, I went ahead and when I got these back, I put new tires on.
Oh yeah.
So
Now they're 16s or 17s?
they're 17.
Yeah. Wow. I love it, man. You've got some cool stuff. I think about the only thing I can afford is a tractor back here in the back. You'd probably have to finance that too.
Well, that's a pretty neat tractor too.
Yeah.
You saw my
That's the first thing we said. We pulled up. Golly, I'd hate to mow that hill.
It won't tip over.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd hate to mow that hill.
It's 4-wheel drive. It's all hydraulic.
Yep.
It's got a Kubota engine, three-cylinder Kubota engine, 25 horsepower, and it's gas, not diesel. Everybody says, "Is it diesel?" No, it's not diesel. It's gas.
That's fine. I love your cars, man. I can't wait to see.
That's my little collection that I've gathered through the years. I've been a car guy since I was a young man.
Right.
And
the big smoky units over there.
And that's Jerry Glanville, the Falcon head coach.
Oh yeah.
And the defensive coach, but turned into the head coach. But he had his shop was just down the street from us in Cumming. We owned a restaurant called Ruby Lee's, and him and his crew would eat at a restaurant almost every day when he was racing. And he gave us these pictures and stuff. Of course, one day he had a hot rod turbo Ford Thunderbird. The name of it were turbos.
Right.
He'd rebuilt his, and it was a real hot rod. I was in there having lunch, and him and his crew left to go out and get in their car, the turbo Thunderbird, and the damn thing wouldn't start. He was out there in the parking lot, and it wouldn't start. We had a driving window there, and my wife yelled at him, "Hey, Jerry, my doctor husband's in here. Want him to come out and help you?" and he yelled back, "Yeah, tell him to get out here and bring his tool."
Yeah.
The Monty won best in class at Hilton Head Island one year.
Right.
I believe that was in 2006. I won a national first at the Studebaker convention in Charlotte 2 years before, and somebody had recommended me to that guy Warner, whoever he is that runs Hilton Head Island. And so I got a letter from them, asked me to send some pictures of my car if I'd like to show it at Hilton Head Island. So I go, wow, what an honor. You know?
Oh yeah.
I took pictures and sent them down to them. They got back to me and said, "Yeah, we're inviting 10 Studebakers, and yours is one of them."
Wow.
So I took it down there, just happy to be there.
Oh yeah.
I go, wow.
That's a big show.
What a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had all the Studebakers on line, and some of them were older ones, and some were the Hawks and stuff. Only Avani, excuse me. And so I left. They had a special vendor that the display people could go and have free lunch. You know,
right.
One had my free lunch. You know, came back with a big old blue ribbon on the windshield.
Wow.
I walk up and look at it, and it says "best in class." And I was just shocked.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I'll show you that before you go. I got it hung up in my
yep.
room up there. But anyway.
Well, man, I sure appreciate you letting us look these things over. I love them.
Yeah.
I've seen 2 or 3 of them. I've never seen the Lotus. I've never seen the Lotus.
I tell you, I used to, as long as I was living in Cumming, I belonged to the Lotus Club. They were mostly young guys, and most of them had those new ones that had the Toyota engines in them. You know?
Right.
And we'd go on drives, and every time we went on a drive, we got pulled over by the police somewhere. Somewhere. This is the only club I've ever belonged to that had a attorney on retainer.
Oh, really?
Because it's all he did was take care of tickets for you. Because the lead guy always got a ticket.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. Mm.
But anyway, so I've been up here in Blairsville. I don't belong to that club anymore. I take it out with the Jaguar. They drive slower.
Right.
we don't have so much trouble with that. But,
well, we're going to get out of your hair now. I know you got a lot to do, but I love these cars, man. I appreciate you.
Let me show you that ribbon I got from Hilton Head Island. That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. What is that? What is that called down that Hilton Hand? I can't remember the name of the show.
You need it be on this flat, I think.
Concord the Elegant.
Yeah, Concord the Elegance. That's a huge deal.
Here's the actual trophy here. But yeah, it says, what does that say? Well, you read it from up top. Yeah, Concord the Elegance. Hilton Head, best in class.
Wow, that's huge.
Isn't that something?
I mean, that Concord the Elegance, everybody goes to that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jay Leno and everybody.
I mean, I was just so shocked that
You keep it in the box still? You ain't got it displayed?
Well, no, it sits on the box.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's got you can see where it sits.
And that's actually made out of diamond. That's made out of diamond. That's not crystal. That's diamond.
And I'm taking offers right now. Oh man.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've seen the Doc's collection, no doubt. Beautiful cars. And you care if I drive this sometime?
Let me think about that, Stephen. No.
I understand. Anyway, Doc, we appreciate you.
We'll go for a ride sometime.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I wouldn't want to drive it. I'd be afraid that's the first thing I do, skin it up, and have to explain how that happened.
Really?
But anyway, so all right, folks. Till next time, we'll have some more stuff going on.
All right.
Y'all check this out. Doc, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it.